It was difficult, but French journalist Franck Genozo managed to convince smugglers to let him embark on a dangerous trip.
We left maybe 10 minutes ago, and we've been going along the Turkish coast to an unknown destination where we'll probably be picking up dozens of migrants. Smugglers have warned us to hide here inside the boat so no one can spot us.
Somewhere along the coast, the boat stops. The captain tells the migrants it's safe for them to get on. His fellow smugglers escort dozens of Syrian and Iraqi refugees who had been hiding in bushes for the past 24 hours. Families with children are allowed to be the first to step on the boat. All are extremely nervous. Many can't swim. 20 terrified children wear life jackets much too big for them. The youngest passenger on board is a baby barely 2 months old. His parents will hold him tight throughout what will be an ordeal they'll never forget. The migrants help each other. Solidarity will be key on this journey. A Syrian man known as Ibra shares his excitement with the French journalist.
I feel so amazed, but my family there. I don't if they came or they didn't come here.
The smugglers order Ibra to get off and help push the boat. Others are told to join efforts or else they won't leave. One of the smugglers waves a gun to show who's in charge and who must obey. The boat can finally sail off, but without the captain. The smuggler will take no more risks. He randomly picks a migrant with no experience to replace him, and he jumps off. The smugglers congratulate each other. They're on land, and whatever happens to the migrants from now on is not their business. They have their money, their job is over. One Iraqi man struggles to reach the boat where his wife and children found a seat. Exhausted, he finally manages to get on. The journey can begin. The boat is heading to the Greek island of Lesbos, some 10 kilometers away. Many pray. They all know they're risking their lives. But no one on board feels safe.
I've told the captain to not go too fast. It's better to go slowly if it means arriving safely there.
The sea is beautiful, but the boat's engine doesn't work well.
60 people are crammed onto this old wooden boat. 2,000 euros per adult, 1,000 per child. That's what it cost them to be allowed on. The smoke coming out of the worn-out engine and the smell of petrol are unbearable. Night falls, making the journey even more dangerous. With no lights, the boat will have to navigate in the Aegean Sea, hoping to avoid cargo ships that could crush them anytime. Suddenly, the engine stops working. After a short prayer, the migrants look at each other in despair.
The engine has stopped. We're about 2 or 3 kilometers away from the Turkish coast. There's practically no light apart from the one on our camera, and there are no boats in sight. For the time being, we're stuck here.
The migrants have plunged into darkness with the only light coming from a few mobile phones. They blow the whistles on their life jackets in a desperate attempt to be noticed and saved.
Everyone, stop moving, or we're going to capsize.
The French journalist who carries a satellite phone calls rescue forces, giving the boat's GPS coordinates.
Tell him that I called. They're gonna come, but it takes time, okay?
A lot of people died here, so the people so scary about that.
Shortly after the call, A small Greek fishing boat approaches.
Here.
Coast Guards gave the alert.
My friend, come to here. Come to here.
Due to increasingly strong waves, the Greek fisherman is struggling to tow the migrants' boat, but he finally manages to save the group. The journey has been exhausting, traumatizing, and it's not quite over yet. After 4 hours at sea, the migrants finally arrive in Lesbos. The overwhelming feeling is one of relief.
The sea is scary. Thank you.
Ibra reunites with his family, who are on the other side of the boat.
Still a long way to go, right?
We still have a lot of so long drive to go to the Germany. But we do the hard to go to there, work hard to go to there.
That perilous journey at sea is now over, but more difficulties lie ahead. The following day, it will be time to head towards Athens, before travelling to Northern Europe by any possible means. Having fled their war-torn countries, they are now looking for a new place they can call home.
Every day at the moment, 6 people don't make it. Almost 3,000 have drowned this year. But the total arrival figures are just astounding. Now some 500,000 and more, as we know, are coming. What's hardest to relate to is why you would risk your life, the life also of your children. What would push you to do this? The relief that you see on their faces is just astonishing when they arrive. Some are in shock, they're dehydrated, exhausted. And this, remember, is the beginning, not the end of their journey through Europe. So that's the latest 40 people or so arriving here, but thousands more have arrived on these beaches in the last few weeks, and they're now part of an elaborate smuggling system. The boats and the life jackets being provided on the Turkish side, and those boats being salvaged this end, and some of the engines being sent back to Turkey. 7 out of every 10 people now coming to Europe by sea this year have made this journey to the Greek islands from just over there, just across the way.
هذا مسير على الأقدام، المسير على الأقدام كمان ندفع مصاري.
I have walked for 2 days. I walked 60 kilometers.
Since 6 in the morning, 6 a.m. I arrived in this island. Since then I have started walking till now. All day night through this forest alone with kids.
An explosive.
To come.
No help anything, no help police, no help, no taxi help, no help anything. I working.
How many children do you have?
3,
How old are they?
9, 5, 3 year.
And you were walking 50 kilometers to get to...
Working 50 kilometers.
We don't allow to take any illegal immigrant coming in our country in the cab because it's against the law.
What happens if you get caught?
If you get caught, you're going to the court, you're paying fine, you maybe lose your license.
Greece is not the final destination. Greece, we could say, that is a transit country, it's a transit stop. It's the gateway to Europe, but it's not the final destination. Greece is not an appealing destination for these populations because of the general conditions, the austerity that we are going through.
Two days ago, I slept in the street. Now I am in the camp. It's a dirty camp. Food not good, water not clean, bathrooms same, not good. We don't have a system here. No system.
This is the dockside here at Mytilene, which is the capital and the port of Lesbos. It's the first staging post for the refugees as they come across from Turkey and enter into Europe. They're gathered here basically at the port because they want to get on one of the ferries which are waiting here at the dockside. But for everybody who gets on, of course, there are many left behind who are still waiting their turn. And what strikes you, of course, is the diversity. There are Afghans here, there are Iranians, there are Iraqis from all over the country, and of course many Syrians, all fleeing the conflict in their countries, either directly the flames of war or the consequences of the upheavals that have turned their countries upside down.
Have many refugees passing from Greece wanting to seek asylum in some Central European country because they don't want to seek asylum in Greece, because Greece never had some strong policy about asylum. We never gave it. We only gave like maybe 1 or 2% to the asylum seekers. We should definitely be talking about how they come into Greece, because what happened is that we built a big wall in between Greece and Turkey. Because of this wall, then all the asylum seekers, they had to come through the sea in terrible situations, in boats that were not able to carry them across, and many ended up swimming to come to Greece, and many ended up dead and washed away by the sea.
The last 2 months, the situation was terrible. Every day, so many people, many boats. We have a mission search and rescue, many children, many pregnant women, all nationalities.
من كوباني كوباني عائلتي وصار حرب اجت داعش وطرحنا على اول شيء على الحدود كلياتنا ضيعنا بعض. الجزيره بالبحر كان البحر كثير بخوف. يعني تقريبا صرنا شيء 4 ايام في شباب هذول ساعدوني. يعني بدك نقول شيء 50 60 كيلو مشينا على رجلينا.
They normally should be arrested first by the Coast Guard. If they are not like arrested in the sea, they need to be arrested by the Coast Guard in the land. And then the Coast Guard has to give the people to the police for registration, for the police registration, in order everyone to be issued with a deportation decision. There are a lot of people that they are not arrested in the sea. The boats reach the Greek coast. They get off the boats, or like they fell on the sea and they swim to the coast. And after that, if the coast guards do not go to collect them, to pick them up, they have to stay in the streets, nowadays even for 2 or 3 days, until they are picked up by the coast guards to be delivered to the police for registration. The police is the one who runs the big detention center in Moria, near Moria village.
It's so difficult to control the situation in this island because it is Moria camp, it is full, we have tents there, so everything, the people, they are out in the sun, without water, without WC.
But the life also here is so bad. We can't making everything in my life. I want to go to Europe to going to my school because my life in Syria it's finished. My school, my friends, my family.
Many refugees here in this Greek port city say they have only one shot to get to Europe. By the time they get here, they have spent most of every penny they could gather on smugglers.
My destination is Germany or Sweden. Where there is hope, there is life. I want to live.
As thousands of refugees load onto a giant boat from Greek island ports to Athens for about $50 each, hopes are high. This is the easy part of the journey.
Of the many stages in their long journey before and still to come, this 12-hour ferry crossing from the Aegean island of Lesbos has perhaps been the most comfortable and secure. They've paid €50 each to the ferry operator rather than to a people smuggler, and they've arrived safely on dry land.
We don't have any right in our countries. People kill each other, so we escape from our countries.
Are you happy to be here? Do you feel relieved to be here?
Yes, we're so happy here.
10. We're 10.
10 in one
Coming
family?
From Syria to Turkey to Greece. Now we're going to Macedonia, to Serbia, then Hungary, then...
Have you heard about
Austria.
the troubles on the route in the last few days?
I've heard so much.
Are you worried about that?
Yes, yes, yes.
This is the 5th ferry load to arrive here in Piraeus since last Monday. That's 12,500 people in a single week, and many more make the journey by other means. Back on the Aegean Islands, the European front line, if you like, there are well over 10,000 people waiting to get onto ferries like this, and that number is growing by 1,000 new arrivals across the sea from Turkey every night. The authorities in Greece are utterly overwhelmed, offering little besides a simple registration document that allows the refugees to pass through the country and leave. So this is the paperwork that they gave you in Mytilene, telling you that you could stay in Greece for 3 months and then leave.
Yeah.
And is that what you plan to do?
Yeah, probably.
They'll need transport north towards the Macedonian border, and the bus companies know an opportunity when they see one. What are you handing out here?
Bus to Evzonos.
A bus to take them to Evzonos. From where they can connect to another bus to Thessaloniki?
Yes. Thessaloniki, Evzonos. This bus Thessaloniki and the next bus Evzonos.
Some take the metro towards the train station in Athens. 7-year-old Zainab is the only English speaker in her family of 8.
There's people die, and there's...
In Syria? What did you see there? Bad things?
Yes.
Do you feel excited about the future?
Yeah. Yes.
For the young, perhaps there is excitement in this movement between countries. The adults with them will hope that nothing ahead is worse than what they've left behind.
We see now the police is making the order to getting reach the train by the refugees. So here is a group around between 300 and 400 of them. They arrived here during the night, and this is what's going on in the past 3-4 months. They are very exhausted. They stayed, I guess, 2-3 days on the road, on the border to the road here. So they want to reach Serbia, but I don't know what is the situation there. So this what we see is that what we know.
We are very tired. We saw death 10 times ago. It's not a good solution to do this. We are a human. Nobody understands this. We are a human. We are in our country. We are living a good life before death and war. Why you have to do this with us? Look, children, look, garbage. We are so tired, and we are waiting for paper, and they are fighting.
This is not right. I mean, if every guy goes aside, we have these papers that came with us from Greece. We can just give them these papers, and they can copy and paste everything, because the officials in Greece verified every single information in here. And that's it. Why all this buzz?
The conditions in this camp are difficult. I think the challenges in recent weeks is correctly that large numbers of people are coming in, and the facilities that we have not been geared to that amount of people. I would say that is always a major challenge, to try and reach as many as possible with limited resources.
Some 3,000 migrants crossed into Serbia from Macedonia this week, confirming fears that Europe's worst refugee crisis since World War II is showing no signs of easing. Large numbers of people escaping conflicts in the Middle East continue to travel along the so-called Balkan route, passing through Turkey, Greece, Macedonia and Serbia on their way towards Western Europe. The most dangerous part of their journey is crossing the Aegean Sea between Turkey and Greece, usually done in small rubber dinghies.
We were stuck for 6 days in the sea. They left us like around 49 person in the small boat they call dead boats. We were about to die, but only the Greek who helped us.
More than 170,000 people have crossed into Serbia this summer, mostly escaping the civil war in Syria and bloodshed in Iraq, where Islamic State militants have captured large swathes of territory and imposed extreme forms of Sharia law. For the vast majority of the migrants, the goal is to reach Germany, Sweden and other wealthy countries in Western Europe. They hope to find work and rebuild their lives, whilst also reuniting with family members who have already made the journey.
Today, European leaders called an emergency meeting to solve the worst refugee crisis since World War II. Hundreds of thousands have fled war and poverty in the Middle East and North Africa. They're pouring into Europe by sea and by a new land route from Turkey to Hungary, which has been overwhelmed by the arrival of so many. Charlie Daggett is there.
Mohammed Bazov and his friends walked 12 straight hours today from Serbia to finally cross the border with Hungary.
We don't sleep. We don't sleep. Look into my eyes. It's red. We don't eat. Just walking. Just walking.
Like thousands of others, he fled the war in Syria in search of a better life in Europe. But his fight to reach Germany almost ended here. This is Hungary's solution to the flood of refugees pouring in, a 13-foot fence topped with razor wire, running about 115 miles along its border with Serbia.
The Hungarian government has been racing to finish this fence by the end of the month, and they've just about done it. This is what refugees are facing on the Serbian side of the border, and the message couldn't be clearer.
My tennis career started when I was 7 years old and ended when I was 16 years old, like last year, because of, the problems there. And now I plan to continue my career there in Germany, if I can.
Egy olyan feladatot látunk most el, amit alapvetően nem gondolom, hogy önkénteseknek kéne ellátni, de mivel azt tapasztaltuk, hogy senki nem látta el ezt a feladatot, ezért alakult létre ez a csoport.
So this is the 100-mile fence that Hungary's been building. They believe that this is going to stop the migrants from coming through this country. There's a massive gap in the fence where the train tracks are, and this is where everyone's been entering today. There's still loads of people coming. We've seen dozens walk past already. A lot of them have been dreading this moment of arriving in Hungary and being fingerprinted and stuck here. And so now what's happened, the police have come, they've blocked the route and they're putting them onto buses which are taken to the camps, which is probably going to do exactly that.
نحن حربانين من حرب، مو جايين لناكل موز وتفاح، نحن لاجئين عنكم. انتم فتحتوا باب اللجوء، ليه لا تفتحوه اذا ما بدكم تمشوا هالعالم هيك؟ حرام. يا محلى اليونان لسه باستقبالها، ما هيك عملت. اليونان فورا مشتنا ومشت السوريين اول العالم كله.
عملكم خيالة حدا يتحاش. جماعة اللي ورا مين؟ النبي جايك لك ملايين صاروا.
اكو شباب جاي يفوتون من هنا.
تمام. هذول عم يحاولوا يفوتون على الكازية، ستيشن. هنا يوقفوا تاكسي. اتفقوا معه، طبعا صار التاكسي راح التاكسي إذا ما بطلع السعر بنقول عم نطلع يعني ممكن من هون لبدا جيست يعني ياخذ على الشخص 200 يورو 300 يورو في ناس 500 يورو من هون لبدا جيست.
There's a kid that's just passed out and fainted over there, and I think they've called the ambulance. He's like basically shaking and like I don't know. I can't tell if it's from the cold from last night or whether it's sunstroke from being out here for so long. Okay. Okay. I'll ask him. زين. غطيه شوية من البرد لأن I think we should cover it properly so he doesn't get cold as well.
امبارح يمكن ما أكل شيء.
امبارح ما أكل شيء.
شوف الوضع هنيك، الوضع مأساوي، ما تلاقي على الطفل صعب كثير، وضع كثير صعب يعني إذا ما متنا هنيك بدنا نموت هون، شمس ووسخ ووضع مو طبيعي، يعني معنا أطفال معنا أولاد.
صاركم كم يوم نايمين هنا؟
هلا احنا صرنا 9 أيام بالشوارع، هلا اليوم احنا جينا هون من الصبح، بس شوفت عينك يعني هلا إذا جينا رحنا لهنيك وين بدنا ننام.
There's a great sense of frustration, especially those who have had to sleep rough overnight with their kids. Apparently it was freezing cold last night as well, and now these buses are coming and taking them to camps which they weren't hoping to end up in.
وصلنا من الساعة 7 الصبح قاعدين نستنى الباصات ولهلا ما قالوا الكامب فل. 2 كامب بس بهالمنطقة فل.
فشو يعني؟
لبكرة تومورو.
يعني اليوم تباتون برا؟
ايه.
هم؟
يا وكتير باردين، نحن نمنا الليلة الماضية كتير باردين.
يعني هسه بردت، يعني شنو اللي خلاكم توصلون هالمرحلة اللي هسه قررتوا احنا رح نطلع من سوريا الآن؟
تهجرنا كتير من أكثر من قرية من بيوتنا، من أكثر من منطقة، يعني مو أكثر من مرة. إيه فما عاد في شيء. ما عاد في شيء. أنا عم حكيكي من موبايل وحدة صحفية قالت عليها، قلت لها بس بدي طمن ماما علي. إيه ما بدي طول عليها لأنه عم حكيكي مكانها مكان. إن شاء الله. ادعيلي بوصيلي إخواتي كتير. الله معك، عيد الشر. باي.
روح الكامب طوفان صعبة لجوا. يا عمي انت المطلوب باصات من هون وما نبصم، هذا المطلوب. باصات من هون وما نبصم، هذا المطلوب. بس. انه عدد كبير. قاعدين ما مستعجلين، قاعدين.
Basically what happened, they were told to start walking towards the camp and a lot of them decided to start making a run for it and trying to avoid going to the camp. And these guys are trying to discuss what to do next because they've been blocked off and they've been told they have to go back to the camp, otherwise they'll be sent back to Serbia.
السلام عليكم. عم بيحكوا لكم الآن الشرطة بدهم يقتحموا المكان.
يعني احنا حابين انه نتعاون معاكم، ولكن هم مصرين الان على اقتحام المكان. قبل شوي ضربوا غازات، فبقولوا لكم روحوا سجلوا في المخيم، وهناك لما تسجلوا في المخيم ممكن بعد هيك هم يساعدوكم. هذا كلام الشرطة مش كلامي أنا أنقل عن الشرطة علشانكم أنتوا، علشان الأطفال، مشان ما يأذوكم ويأذوا الأطفال.
So everyone's been told that in order to stop yourselves from facing pepper spray or any sort of violence from the police, it's best to just head back to where you were just camping out, and so everyone's being ushered back now.
People wants to go to the Budapest, but the police put the gas in their faces, also me and my family, and they hit us with batons, and so they forced us to come to the camp.
We're not Arabs anymore. We're just Syrians.
Just Syrian.
Yeah, because Arabic governments, Arabic leaders, they don't care about us.
And did you ever think that you'd leave Syria?
One day when we was in Raqqa city, the Scud missile, you know, the Scud missile, 12-meter Scud. Yeah, it falls in my hood, in my area, and there was a lot of people killed that day. So the next day we decided, okay, we have to leave. That was almost 2 years ago.
People in Europe are a bit nervous or like angry about Europe accepting so many refugees, especially Germany. Do you understand why they might be nervous about this?
Maybe some radical Muslims come to the country, yeah, or somebody follows ISIS. Maybe they come to the country, but I don't know. I just have a message for them, like, guys, you already know that we already came out from death. Like, we don't want to go to another death.
After a day and for many a night waiting in a field just inside Hungary, frustration boiled over. Refugees and migrants, most from Syria, stood face to face with police and demanded to be pre-registered. Without that, they couldn't move on to Budapest and then to Austria and Germany. Some broke away and ran to railway tracks to take them to the nearest town. They were told to go back. They did, but not happily.
We don't want to stay here. Either let us go to the camp by walking, not to stay here at night, or to let us go free to Budapest by taxis, buses, trains.
The size of the group was too much. They burst through police lines again and began running down the highway. Their goal was Budapest and beyond. Others were held back and voiced their unhappiness.
We must leave as soon as possible, simply because living here in without tent, without blanket, is too difficult.
Finally, with the aid of an Arabic translator, most were persuaded to go to the center. It was full. Only a few were squeezed in. The rest found themselves camping again on the ground. At dusk, volunteers arrived to offer food and bedding. Back at the collection point, a kilometer from the border with Serbia, the field was packed again with new arrivals. A volunteer doctor from Austria sitting on the ground treated wounds and sickness. The luckiest people camped in their own small tents. UNHCR distributed blankets and more tents, and announced plans for more adequate accommodation. In the night, volunteers prepared to distribute food, and hundreds more new arrivals were escorted in by police. The river of people doesn't stop, and the Hungarian authorities can barely cope.
Asleep after a long and arduous journey. And these refugees are not alone. For here, outside the main train station in Budapest, over 1,000 refugees wait to continue their journey. But for 2 days now, they have been stuck here after Hungarian authorities closed off the station, preventing all refugees from taking trains bound for Austria and Germany. Many here are close to despair.
Family and children will have no more money to eat, to drink water at least, to drink milk at least. We have no more words to describe our situation. No more glossary words. Tell me, what is the definition of being a refugee? What is it? A refugee is to be treated underground, to be sitting on the street. This is the message of a refugee.
This unprecedented influx has put huge pressure on the Hungarian government. Refugees here are relying on the goodwill of volunteers who are distributing food, clothes and basic medical kits. The majority are fleeing wars in Syria, Afghanistan and Iraq, and the numbers show no signs of abating. Hungary is completing a fence along its border with Serbia in an attempt to stem the flow of refugees into its borders. But desperation knows no barriers. After 3 days of waiting here, protests have broken out outside the station.
Women, children that have been here for too long, there needs to be a solution for these people over here. They need to have proper care and proper reception. And this is why we are calling on Hungary to provide people a fair access to asylum, and there should be proper reception for these people. And also, it's also a European responsibility. I mean, there needs to be a way where some of the refugees are relocated to other European countries on equal basis. No one country should be left to deal with the refugee issue all by itself.
Over 140,000 people have sought asylum in Hungary so far this year, triple the number who arrived during the first 8 months of 2014. Here in Budapest, UNHCR is working with the city authorities to open a transit centre which will provide temporary relief. But unless a coordinated European solution is found, sites like these will become increasingly common in what has now become the largest migration into Europe since World War II.
They've been camped here for weeks. Thousands of Syrian and Afghan refugees who crawled under and over a razor wire fence at Hungary's southern border to reach Europe. 50,000 migrants arrived in Hungary in August alone, many of them coming here to Budapest's Keleti station in the hope of travelling onwards to Germany. But arriving in Hungary is proving easier than leaving it. A day after thousands overwhelmed police, making it onto trains to Vienna and Munich, Hungarian police evacuated the station and cancelled all trains to Austria and Germany on Tuesday. The move prompted angry protests from migrants, whose hopes had been raised by the relaxed controls on Monday. Last week, German Chancellor Angela Merkel said the world was watching as Europe struggled with the largest migrant influx in a generation. And on Tuesday, all eyes were on Keleti.
Ich bin überzeugt, wir müssen unsere Außen- und Entwicklungspolitik deutlich stärker darauf ausrichten, Konflikte zu lösen und Fluchtursachen zu bekämpfen. Wir werden uns auch finanziell deutlich stärker engagieren müssen als heute. Und die hierfür notwendigen Entscheidungen müssen schnell getroffen werden. Wir können uns von den globalen Ereignissen nicht mehr entkoppeln. Noch nie seit dem Zweiten Weltkrieg waren so viele Menschen auf der Flucht wie heute, etwa 60 Millionen. Nur diese eine Zahl macht die ganze Dimension der Aufgabe deutlich. Und niemand verlässt seine Heimat leichtfertig. Auch nicht die, die aus wirtschaftlichen Gründen kommen. Aber denen müssen wir auch sagen, dass sie nicht bei uns bleiben können, damit wir denen wirklich helfen können, die tatsächlich unseren Schutz vor Krieg und Verfolgung brauchen. Und dazu brauchen wir einen politischen Prozess zur Lösung der Krise in Syrien mit allen regionalen und internationalen Akteuren, mit einer stärkeren Rolle Europas. Nur gemeinsam wird uns die gewaltige Integrationsaufgabe gelingen, die noch zu bewältigen ist. Zu ihr gehört, dass wir mit gutem Recht in Europa erwarten können, dass Menschen, die zu uns kommen, sich in unsere Gesellschaften integrieren. Das verlangt das Einhalten der hier geltenden Regeln genauso wie das Erlernen der jeweiligen Sprache. Aber umgekehrt haben auch wir die Pflicht, Menschen, die aus der Not zu uns kommen, mit Respekt zu begegnen. In ihnen Menschen zu sehen und nicht irgendeine anonyme Masse, völlig unabhängig davon, ob sie eine Bleibeperspektive haben oder nicht.
Running for 12 hours now. When I arrived here this morning, there were hundreds of migrants chanting, "We want to go." They stayed here throughout 35 degrees of heat while the police denied them entry to the station. 12 hours later, they're still here. They're determined that they want to go to Germany and they won't leave. There are some evidence of some small groups of neo-Nazi gangs in the area, but the police have kept things relatively calm, and so far the protests have been peaceful. How much longer that will remain the case as the frustration builds here is an open question. A small group of ultranationalists hovered around the margins, saying they wanted to protect their homeland. But this Hungarian Muslim woman confronted the group. "I was born here," she says. "What's the problem? I want to help them to leave Hungary."
People are really desperate and frustrated. There's a huge lack of information. People are asking around, so when are they going to let us go? They have been here for 2, 3 and more days. They can't go out. So many people are afraid to leave the station because they think they might be detained if they go to the narrow streets behind. There's very little said to them. Just this morning there was an announcement about the closure of the train station, and it was in Hungarian. Not in English or Arabic or any other language. So people are still in the dark and they're still waiting, and they think it's going to open. The question by them is, when is it going to be opened?
The confusion at Caleti mirrors the disjointed response of European leaders to this crisis, now at odds over how to police the bloc's internal and external borders in the face of a relentless surge in migration. EU officials have warned against a blame game, but already Hungary's leaders have accused other countries of raising false hopes among migrants. The government has rejected attacks from France, where ministers described Budapest's border fence and its objections to a migrant sharing scheme as scandalous. In the meantime, many migrants here will now try and reach Germany covertly by car or lorry. Police checks at the Austrian border have already created miles-long tailbacks and called into question the viability of a borderless Schengen zone. Chancellor Angela Merkel has already warned Hungary's eastern allies that the bloc's prized passport-free Schengen zone will be at risk unless they shoulder more of the burden of resettling refugees, a contentious policy that will require weeks of tough negotiations. But without some kind of urgent relief here at Caleti, the numbers will continue to swell as more than 3,000 new migrants arrive in Hungary each day.
It is not quite on a biblical scale, but an exodus it certainly is. At least 2,000, maybe more, of the refugees and migrants who've been trapped at the railway station in Budapest, now deciding to walk the hundreds of miles to Germany and what they see as the promised land. Children too were set on the road, the blazing sun and traffic on the major motorway out of the city, no deterrent.
So we walking on our feet to arrive to Europe.
It is hard to imagine this refugee crisis could have got yet sadder and still more pathetic. They have clearly set out on a hopeless quest. The Austrian border is much too far to walk. Yet the fact they've done this at all reflects their desperation, being stuck in Budapest. Infirmity was no barrier. There is clearly no chance of many of these people making it more than a few more miles. But they know that what they're doing will get attention, and anything must be better than sitting in squalor, waiting for a train that may never come. Is this your way of shaming Europe into helping you?
Yes, that's what you want. That's what we want.
Are you worried how many children there are amongst this crowd?
Yes, we are worried about this, but we don't have anything in our hands.
It's hundreds of miles to the border. You're not going to be able to walk that far.
Okay, we make our way to Germany. This is history. Our children will know everything.
Any motorway bridge offered a chance for a moment's rest from the sun. Volunteers offered what they could in the way of water, while the police sensibly didn't try and stop the march. The problems, though, will start later this evening when exhaustion's...
Vienna!
Vienna. No, Budapest.
Do you know how many kilometers?
No, I don't know.
Kilometer, no problem.
أنا يا أخي إذا مو باصات إذا أخذونا على الكم ما شافونا الوين.
Thousands of refugees who made perilous journeys to Europe this summer have been sleeping at Budapest Keleti station, waiting for trains to take them to Western Europe. Eventually, they stopped waiting and set out on foot. This is their story.
ناقصنا كل شيء، حاجة نومي بالشوارع تحت البرد وأطفال صغار. بدنا نمشي نطلع على النمسا.
يلا نمشي يلا.
حمود بسرعة.
الهنغاري الشعب الهنغاري ممتاز. أما حكومة إن شاء الله يلا.
صرنا 4 أيام رايحين على النمسا، بيضحكوا علينا، بيركبونا بالقطار بياخذونا على الكامل، بيضربوا العلم وبيبصموه وبيرجعوا لهون. شو ليش؟ ما بنعرف، احتمال تمسكنا احتمال ما يمسكونا، رايحين نتوكل على الله وماشيين.
Reem, 6-year-old Mariam, 2-year-old Mohammed, and Majid are a Syrian family from Idlib. Their dream, like so many of the Syrians here, is to get to Germany. First, they must reach the Austrian border, 180 kilometers away.
We want to go to Germany because we could have our rights. We are welcome there. We are sorry of the Hungarian people because we are crossing the roads in the red line.
ما بعرف، بتمشوا على الخارطة، انتم بتعرفوا حالكم وين ماشيين.
طيب هاي احنا هون هلا، بس بدي النمسا.
احنا ما بدنا نمشي لحالنا، روح على النمسا.
We are going to Austria. Walk.
How long will that take?
I don't know. But we are walking.
Mahmoud is an electrician from Damascus whose leg was injured in the war.
Where are you going now?
To Vienna.
Yes.
من هون يا أخي.
Do you know how many kilometers?
No, I don't know. It's beautiful, and this is true route to Vienna. يلا. Sit down.
مشي.
ما انتو كاهي.
ليك رجعتوا نورماني ليك طلع.
Nem tudom, de akkor minden autóba be fognak törni.
Én szívesen segítek. What do you think of the end of this movie?
Just like the romantic movies. And the couple have children and they live peacefully.
تعبانين بس مبسوطين.
تعبانين بس ما لنا حاسين بالتعب، المهم انه احنا حنوصل على النمسا، من النمسا حنوصل على المانيا. يعني قد ايه حتكون 8 ساعات 10 ساعات؟ نحن اوكي.
ليك رجعتوا نورماني ليك طلع.
ساعدوا بس توصلنا على المسجد.
Is this your family?
Yeah, this is my family.
If you want, you can come with us.
You know what? Those are my people, and I am from them. I will work like them.
Okay.
It's okay.
Okay.
We will work, and what will happen to them will happen to me. It's okay.
I'm just worried about the children. Yeah.
There are so many children.
I know.
My children not better like than those children. There are so many good people. When war was in Iraq, we received about 4 million people, Iraqi people. We put them in our houses. We don't treat them like refugees. We treat them like brothers. But 2011, when war was in Syria, most of us lost our schools and our studies, our jobs. We lost our identity even. And the world was silent.
Egyszer oda kell rájuk figyelni, mert ez borzasztó. Emberek, ennyi. Segíteni kell.
يلا استراحة روح لقدام الجسر. المي لقدام يا ابو خديبة 2 كيلومتر في مي. في سيارتين مي رح توزع للكل. يلا الله يقويك يا ابو خديبة.
Water? Anyone water? I was heading back to my office from business meeting and I stuck into a traffic jam. Then I looked into my mirror and I saw something I never saw before. There's thousands of people. I'm not really this kind of person. This is the first time in my life I have helped to anyone. But if someone say that they are doing this for political reason or for better job, they are lying.
It's now been 5 hours on the road, and for some, time for another rest. But Mahmoud has found a lift.
Yes. Good. This is a good man.
It is very important for citizens of Hungary and the European Union in general to not allow everyone to think that what the Hungarian government and the EU does, they are doing it in our names, because they don't.
رايح ألمانيا عشان يتعالج. وماشي الله بعينه الله بعين. بس.
It's okay?
Brothers, 3 أخوة.
Brothers.
3 أخوة.
I have given my slippers to my wife because her feet are bleeding. My feet are bigger than the shoes. What shall I do? To be or not to be, that is the question. We will be. Right?
Yeah. Tonight, where will you sleep?
In the street.
On the motorway?
Yes. نعم بدنا ننام هون بالشارع نحن حتى نوصل لهدفنا.
Sorry for you.
No. Don't worry. Bye bye.
After about 11 hours of walking, everybody is looking for a place to sleep by the side of the motorway.
I'm very tired. I am so sick. My legs, I can't feel it. I want to sleep.
We will stay here.
Sleeping for the night, yeah?
Yes. هدي الطرف سامر هدي الطرف سامر. It's hurt me. This is a plastic leg.
Was a bomb?
Yes.
Hi.
Hello.
Nice to meet you again. Where do you sleep now?
I'm sleeping here, 10 meters away. Yeah.
You can sleep with us.
Okay, thank you, yeah.
Really? Which room do you like? Better than sleeping in the train station there. To move is more better than staying there.
I have a t-shirt if you want. And we have baby food.
Children are very, very tired. Yeah. They just want to sleep. My brother I am the youngest one, so they were always playing with me. Khalid is in Germany. I and Walid are on the road. Hussein and Abed and Safi are in Lebanon. I really miss them. There are so many questions in my mind, just such as why my parents are in Lebanon, why my brothers are in Lebanon, what are we doing here, why do we have to go and left Syria. We don't know how to deal with events. We just move when they move, we just walk when they walk, stay when they stay.
Majid and his family bed down for the night. Soon, it starts to rain. News has reached the refugees that under international pressure, the Hungarian government is sending buses to take them to the border. But panic starts to spread through the group that they are being tricked, and the buses will take them to a Hungarian camp instead.
شككني بحالي والله مو منطقي. وين الضمان؟ وين الأمم المتحدة؟ لا تسخوا وما في صحافة. لك هذا يا أخي الطريق والله 40 كيلو 40 كيلو طلعنا صفيان والله صفيان. أخي بنكفي مع بعض ونمشي مع بعض. شوف شوفوا هذا مين.
To convince everybody, the refugees decide to send a first bus ahead and wait for it to report back from the border.
Don't worry, I know my people. I know how they're thinking.
Eventually, the call they are waiting for comes through.
Yeah, give me the Arabic person. يا اسمعوا معي، هلا بتقول للعالم وين صرتوا ماشي؟ بتقول للعالم وين صرتوا، أنا حاط لك على الميكروفون. هلا على الطريق قاصدين على حدود المنساوية على ضيعة اسمها هيكو سالو، تمام؟ هي ضيعة حدودية، بس الطريق أنا متابع GPS 100% لهلا إضافي. شكرا كثير لك، يلا. هلا لحالكم شغلة، الباصات لما رح تجي بدي صفكم 50-50، بتمشي أولاد بيجوا لعند مني لصفكم.
We are happy now. All the world can see us. No one can shoot us.
The border is still a 3-hour drive away, a chance, finally, for Majid and his family to sleep.
Think by the borders. It's very crowded outside. I went to the bath, he's running. He's running. Catch up. روح كمل مشي.
At the Austrian border, a huge humanitarian relief effort is now underway. Police say 4,000 refugees have already arrived and are expecting thousands more.
This is incredibly overwhelming and it is a disgrace that it's happening here.
The Austrian authorities have laid on buses to take everybody to a nearby village. From there, it's on to Vienna by train.
ticket, you have to go there.
Mama ticket.
No, don't get tickets.
Really?
Yeah, no tickets. Go.
Goodbye. This doesn't happen in Europe since I think the World War II. There was a big wave of immigrants from country to another country.
And what do you say to those Europeans who feel threatened?
We are peaceful people. We are hard workers. We are educated. We love each other. Yesterday I shared with you my blanket, my food even the shoes. There is no difference between us. So don't be afraid of us. We are human, just like no, we don't have weapons. We have this weapon. It's our leg, our legs.
There are more than 121,000 Catholic parishes across Europe, and today Pope Francis called on every one of them to take in migrants. The Pope made his direct call for help on the migrant crisis when he spoke at the Vatican, as the lines of those fleeing Syria and elsewhere continues in staggering numbers. Germany is already bracing to take in 800,000 migrants this year, many of them arriving in Munich. And that's where we begin with Charlie D'Agata.
Germany threw down its borders and opened its arms. The Interior Ministry said nearly 12,000 migrants have arrived over the weekend and counting. The fear and desperation that had been etched on their faces for so long gave way to relief and smiles. And while they were welcomed too at the train station in Vienna, no one wanted to hang around long. They jumped on the first train they could to Germany, Europe's richest country, and one that allows all Syrian migrants to apply for asylum. On board was a curious mix of migrants and ordinary paying passengers. Many took the chance to get some rest, safe in the knowledge the next stop would be their last. And rest they did. But they had stories to share too. One young mother told us she'd been traveling without her husband for a month.
I want to ask what it's like traveling with a young baby.
She said she had to walk for miles, carrying not just 4-month-old Rhea, but everything they had, with a toddler in tow. As we got closer to Munich, Mohammed Zuhair from Damascus told us he had reason again to hope.
Well, what does that feel like?
We very happy because we arrived to here and we looking for our future. We want a good life for our children.
Abdul Tarim from Damascus told us the worst part was Hungary and how they were forced into refugee camps.
No freedom. No, no freedom. No, we won't buy food and no. Won't buy any food, any drink. No drink and no food.
And you were locked up?
Yes, we drink from toilet.
One of those camps was still surrounded by armed guards today, those inside still waiting to know whether they too would be allowed to travel onwards. Once migrants arrive here in Munich, Jeff, they are registered here and then they board buses to other parts of Germany for accommodation, places like gymnasiums, even fairgrounds. In some cases, they begin training, a little bit of German, and vocational skills.
Charlie D'Agata, thank you very much.
Mention Bahnhof. When we walk, we make our decision. We don't wait for the others to give us solutions.
Good.
Stand up, my people. We all stand up. Go walk. My countrymen are very happy. They feel very, very happy. Bye-bye. Thank you so much, German people. Thank you so much.